Hello everyone, my name is Bobby Martinez, and today I'm excited to bring you the series of interviews with our local candidates running for Port Hueneme City Council. These interviews are an opportunity for us to get to know the candidates a little bit better and to hear directly from them about their plans, priorities, and visions for our city. Whether you're new to the community or a longtime resident, it's important to be informed about who's representing us and what they stand for. So today I'm sitting down with Randall, who's running for a seat on the Port Hueneme City Council. Thank you for joining me, Randall.
Of course, yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be here.
And before we dive into the questions, I just want you to know that this is an open and safe space for us to have a conversation where you can share your thoughts and accomplishments and plans with the residents. My goal here is to give voters a better understanding of who you are and what you hope to achieve if elected. So let's go ahead and get started with the first question. Can you share a little bit about your background and what inspired you to run for Port Hueneme City Council?
Yeah, happily. Thank you for asking that question. My background is, I was born down in San Diego, and then at the age of 1 year old, we moved up here to Oxnard in the Port Hueneme area. My father was in the Navy, and he got stationed at Point Magoo. And from that point forward, I went to Hueneme Christian, and then I graduated high school from Camarillo High School after that. And I went into the United States Army because I was kind of understanding myself, knowing that I wasn't going to try to go to college immediately, but I knew I couldn't just sit and not do anything. And coming from a long background of military lineage in my family, I knew at least if I went into the service, I would be able to find a path that would suit me. And so in 2018, right after high school, I went into the Army as an all-source intelligence analyst. And that just kind of means I would gather data, combine it, and then disseminate that data to whoever needed to know what it was. So that way, if the Army was running a mission, wherever they were running it, they would be able to operate with as much information as possible to achieve success. And then after I got out of the Army, I went on a quick deployment over to Djibouti, Africa, and I worked with Special Operations Command over there, doing a little bit of analysis, but primarily security management for Special Operations. And I was there for about 7 months, give or take a few days on that. But after that, I ended up back here in the city of Port Hueneme, working at our local naval base, Port Hueneme. And I'm currently a security manager over there for them. In my current role, I develop policy and implement security procedures for the federal government on the Navy side. And I do that for about 20 or so buildings here in the local Ventura County area.
Nice. And over the past few years, what accomplishments are you most proud of?
Yeah, I would say my most accomplishment that I'm proud of would be successfully completing my contract in the Army. I'm a very patriotic guy. I love this nation, and serving was kind of something I always wanted to do, to give back to the nation that helped raise me as a person. So successfully completing that contract and working with different groups of people and networking and seeing different ideas come together was really awesome. And working with different countries. I worked with the Japanese and the French and the United Kingdom, and it was great, everybody coming together for a common goal. And then I would say my second biggest accomplishment is getting one of the buildings that the Navy has on Point Magoo up to date with security standards from the ground floor, where I was really able to implement that policy and say, this is what we need to do in order to secure the information and make sure everybody here is safe for the betterment of the Navy and the government and the country as a whole.
Good. And what are your top priorities for the city of Port Hueneme over the next few years, and how do you plan to achieve these goals?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say my first priority is making sure that our city can continuously run a budget surplus and not have that be so reliant on a few institutions. Having diversification when it comes to the revenue of the city is really important, because if we were to ever have a slump in one area where we rely on income such as the cannabis industry, it can be really damaging, as we've seen the ramifications of that. So building up a domestic business center in Hueneme, I think would benefit us a lot. So that way we're not so reliant on just the port or the cannabis industry or revenue from the property taxes from the homes here as well. And the second thing I would like to focus on is building up our community relations with the Port of Hueneme, the city of Oxnard, and the Navy. I feel like we've been lacking in that for quite some time, and you can only grow better when we all work together because we're all here and no one's going anywhere. And a lot of the problems that one entity may have will eventually bleed out into the rest of those organizations and cities that I mentioned. So we should work together better. That's the second thing. And the third thing would be letting people know that this city has a really strong community aspect, and it's one of the strongest communities that I've seen, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. And I want to ensure we continue to build on that and to remind us that, hey, even if we face trying times, we can rely on each other because we're a beautiful community, we're a beautiful place to live. And I haven't really seen that in a lot of other cities. And I have a lot of pride in where I live and the people that are my neighbors and where I work and the people who I work with. So those are the three main things I want to focus on.
Good. Next question. What do you believe are the most pressing issues facing Port Hueneme, and how would you address them if elected?
Yeah, I would say the main most pressing issue that we have is a housing situation that we have. We're a small city and we're not in the best place to just do what most cities do, which is build out, right, and provide housing for our young professionals primarily. Because a main problem that we are facing now and will continue to face in the future is we can raise and educate and provide well-paying jobs for people, but then they leave because they can look at Port Hueneme and say, well, there's no housing for us here to buy, and things only keep getting more and more expensive as time goes on. So housing is a really big issue for me, and especially people in my generation, because I'm 24 years old. So I relate to that aspect quite a bit. And I don't want to be in the situation where this city eventually sees itself where there's no working professional class of people, because farther down the line that would lead to more problems. If people just see us as just a beach city with overpriced housing one day, that's not good for us. And I say for now, I think we're in a really unique situation compared to most cities. Driving through Port Hueneme, you can see apartment complexes right next to duplexes, right next to single family homes, and then like a townhome community that was built just 20 years ago, which has kind of kept housing at a lower level than most places in this county. But as everyone complains today, which is true, is housing's just getting more and more expensive. So we have to find a way to assist younger people and even older people if they want to move here to say, hey, you can move here, you can afford it, and we want you here, a part of our community.
What do you want voters to know about you that we haven't yet discussed?
Yeah, I would definitely want the voters to know that I'm a very big community-driven guy. I go to the beach cleanup every Saturday because I care about the environment. And every once in a while, I'll just be driving through the city and picking up trash on the street because we have to uphold an image of a clean city. We are a clean city, and I'm proud of that. And I want people to know that I definitely care about the community and that it has my time. It 100% has my time.
Last question. Why should the residents of Port Hueneme trust you to represent them on the city council?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'll respond to that by saying, if I can develop policy for the federal government and fight for the federal government, I can do the same thing for the city of Port Hueneme in developing local policy for housing or renegotiating what trade deals that we may have with the Port of Hueneme and assisting in the networking that we should be doing with the city of Oxnard and the Navy as well, because I work there, and having that immediate foot in the door would be a significant benefit for the people of Port Hueneme.
Well, thank you so much, Randall, for your time and for sharing your thoughts and visions with us today.
Of course.
It's been really insightful to hear more about your priorities and your plans for the city of Port Hueneme. To all of our viewers, I hope this interview has given you a clearer picture of where Randall stands and how he aims to contribute to the future of our city. Remember, local elections are a great opportunity to have your voice heard, so I encourage everyone to stay informed and vote in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you.